But I want to take this opportunity to welcome Dahlia Walker-Huntington to CaribNation TV. Now, Daria has been one of the warriors in the field for the past couple of years and you can correct me if I'm wrong, for Senator Kamala Harris when she first entered the race for President of the United States. So Daria, why don't you tell us about your initial engagement with Kamala Harris and what it meant to you as a Jamaican and a Caribbean person?
First of all, thank you so much, Ambassador Ward, for having me on your program today. It's really an honor to be able to sit and chat with you about something of which I am very passionate. So Kamala Harris first came to my attention when she became Attorney General of California. I got a text or an email that says, can you believe it? A Jamaican is Attorney General of California. I said, what, a Jamaican? And then I started to do my research and found out who Kamala Harris really was, that she is indeed the daughter of a Jamaican father. And I followed her while she was in California. And then, of course, when she came to the United States Senate in 2016 as a junior senator from California. And she then got national attention during Senate hearings as she questioned various persons who were before her different committees. And like most of America, became very impressed with her cross-examination skills and the breadth of her knowledge and her ability to do the job as U.S. Senator. So I met her in November of 2018 when she was in Florida campaigning for our then Senator Bill Nelson at a fundraiser. And she so warmly embraced all of the Jamaicans who were there. We made sure that we had a strong contingent and we introduced ourselves to her. And she at that point embraced her Jamaican heritage and told us, and her sister Maya was also there, told us about their journeys to Jamaica as children. As you know, a lot of people who live in America, when it comes summertime, they send their American-born children home to Jamaica to get the culture. And her parents did exactly that. And so she knows her relatives there. She celebrates her Jamaicanness. And we, as a community in South Florida, felt very proud at that time to be able to meet her. And in January, at that time, we were encouraged and hoping that she would declare her run for the presidency. And in January of 2019, when she did, a group of us got to work immediately. And we decided that we were going to do whatever we needed to in order to see her have her dream fulfilled. And we began working, taking advantage of social networks, communicating with our networks. There's 7 women, 6 Jamaicans, and 1 Haitian lady, all friends of mine, all professionals, got together, and we have kept in touch and communicated with our network since in support of Senator Harris.
I suppose you were disappointed when she dropped out of the presidential race.
Yes, we were, very much so. But we did not give up our support of her, because even at that time, we saw her as the best choice to be vice president because of what she could bring to the ticket. And we continued our support, our network, and we sat back and watched the race unfold until it became inevitable that Joe Biden would be the nominee, and we put our support behind Joe Biden. But in retrospect, for me personally, when I look back and see the timing of when Senator Harris pulled back in the race in early December because of a funding issue, I think it was the opportune moment. And the way she conducted herself after she pulled out also gave us encouragement, because she was joyful. She was back to doing her work, and keeping in touch with all the people around who supported her. And so in retrospect, when I look at when she pulled out and what happened in South Carolina and how the Black vote really turned the race for Joe Biden, I think if she had stayed in, she probably would have split the vote in South Carolina. So in retrospect, I'm glad she made the strategic decision when she did, and that she continued to joyfully support the party. And even before she was chosen, or the last 2 weeks leading up to the vice presidential choice, she endorsed Joe Biden, and she campaigned more than anybody for Joe Biden over the last few months. Campaign in medium as we're using here on Zoom, on telephone calls, making herself available to various organizations to encourage people to participate, to register to vote, and to participate in the 2020 elections. So from that perspective, I'm extremely happy.
So actually, you've been in the trenches for quite some time. And
yes, since day one.
And you have been playing a role in her campaign, and now you're ready. You're ready.
I'm ready. I mean, I must make it clear that I am not, I don't work for the campaign. I don't work for Senator Harris. Nothing I do or say is endorsed by the campaign. What we've done is a grassroots effort. The 7 women, we got together and we said, well, we each know scores of people. And if the 7 of us can multiply our impact by staying connected with our network through social networks, through social media, through emails, and that's what we've done. And we've made sure that we've educated ourselves on her positions, on her past, and what the policy is of the Biden-Harris ticket, so that we can encourage people to become involved. So we've been there from day one. We met that Sunday. She announced on a Monday was Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and we met that Sunday, and we have been in contact ever since.
You know, I've been following her career for the past 4.5 years. When she was literally campaigning for the Senate in California. And I've watched her in the Senate, how she operates, and she has proven to be intelligent. She's a woman of integrity. She has shown lots of empathy, and she is smart, she is tough. And I think going into this campaign, beside Joe Biden, against what we have in the White House, she has to really prove her mettle. And how confident are you that Senator Harris? I'm confident because I've watched her operate so far. I'm confident that she's up to the task. How about you?
Absolutely, absolutely. She is tough, and she's also joyful. I'm sorry that for various reasons that we're living through this COVID-19 pandemic and social distancing. But before the pandemic, if you watched her in her various campaign stops in little towns in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, all across the country, people warmed to her. She has a charisma that comes across in her communication style, when she's campaigning, when she's in a joyful mood, and people see that and are drawn to it. But you also see her when she is in the Senate, when she's conducting hearings, that she is competent, she's intelligent, she is prepared, and she has a unique and innate ability to cross-examine. And as an attorney, I admire her. There's a meme that goes around with her asking Attorney General Barr a question, and Cory Booker is sitting next to her, and he's watching her, and the pleasure on his face as he watched her ask the question is the same look of adoration that fellow attorneys have, because we know that to question someone is not easy. People sit back in an armchair and say, well, ask that question and ask that. It requires you to think on your feet, to be able to react to the answer that the person is giving you, and to be able to follow up. And she does that as only she can. And it's something, it's an admirable trait, and I love watching it. So whether or not she can take on Mike Pence in a vice presidential debate, she's ready. She could take on Donald Trump in a heartbeat in a debate or a question and answer session. She's ready on day one. And this is why I applaud Joe Biden for picking her, despite all of the noise that surrounded the vice presidential selection process. On Tuesday, when he chose her, he said, I wanted Kamala because I want her to be the last person in the room, and I want her to tell me the truth. And he knows that she will. And I think that initial debate last June, where she challenged him on his past position on busing, garnered the respect from Joe Biden that he needed to have a vice president who was going to challenge him and who would force him to rethink some past position, or maybe in 2022, they'll be dealing with a situation and he knows that she's going to challenge him and force him to come out as the best possible person that he could be. And I love him for it, and I'm proud that he was able to see that in her.
In other words, she's not a rubber stamp.
No, she's not. She's not.
And I, as a lawyer myself, I was quite impressed during the press conference of the first time she and Joe Biden were together following the announcement. She said the case against Donald Trump is open and shut.
The case against Donald Trump and Mike Pence is open and shut.
It is, and it is, and it is, and she can make it. She can make the case, and she's been making it.
I said to someone, in that short speech that she gave on that day, she was laying out the case to the jury at the start of the trial.
Yes, her opening statement.
Here comes the evidence in the weeks ahead. And
yes,
she is most capable. You said she is prepared. Absolutely, no question about that. So in the weeks ahead, we are going to see her nailing this administration. And she, you know, in Jamaica, we usually say she's going to give them a lashing.
Yes, yes.
And she is very capable of doing that. Now, there are many in the Caribbean community, in the wider diaspora community, in the immigrant community, and I know of your expertise in the immigrant community. I know how many times you have been to Washington to lobby Congress on behalf of immigration reform. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I'm a member of the American Immigration Lawyers Association, which is a nationwide lobbying group, also provides a lot of services to the members. And the main part of my practice is immigration law. So I see every day and firsthand the negative impact that immigration laws have had on persons who wish to be reunited with their family members. And so it spurred me to join what's called a National Day of Action, to go to Washington. The first time I went was in 2010, and I went with my colleague, attorney Wayne Golding. And we've been back several times together and separately to lobby Congress for immigration reform. And then come 2016, about 2017, when this new administration took over, and within a matter of hours, he who shall remain nameless started issuing executive orders that had negative impacts on immigration. So clearly, we had to step up our game. So I continue to go to Washington, whether it is to meet with whoever is the the congressional representative from Florida and to meet with the administration when it's possible to, to put forth why certain changes are needed. What we've actually had to do in the last 3.5 years is to not even ask for reform to make things better, is we've been trying to just keep things the way it is, because on almost a daily basis, we have an onslaught of policy decisions from the administration, of case law that comes down, of decisions that come out of the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice that impacts the way immigrants are able to be reunited with their family. And that's what it's all about, immigration. The theme of it is family reunification, is how to get family members together. This administration has turned that into a negative and call it quote unquote chain migration. But nevertheless, it is how the wife of the occupant of the White House has her family here. It's through family reunification. So if it's good enough for the wife of the occupant of the White House, it's good enough for everybody who wants to be with their family members in America. And so that is really my first passion, is trying to get people together. And then politics, it's interwoven with politics. It's hard to be an immigration advocate and not be conscious or aware of politics. And so both of these things are really my passion. And I'm just been excited since the announcement. My joy, my feeling like I'm floating hasn't gone away. And I'm gonna just try to savor this all the way through to the election.
Well, as you know, Vice President Biden during the Obama administration was certainly one of the advocates for the immigration community. We know,
yes,
we know what President Obama did with DACA and so on and so forth. And the expectation now is that with the child of an immigrant by his side, we could see more progress for the immigrant community. And I have written in the Ward Post my disgust with trying to change the nomenclature family reunion to chain migration and to make it appear as if it's derogatory. So I admire what you have been doing, and I look forward to seeing how much more you'll be able to achieve with a Biden-Harris administration.
I'm looking forward to it as well, because Vice President Biden has said within his first 100 days that he's going to address immigration reform, and I'm going to hold his feet to the fire once he's president to that, and certainly Vice President Harris as well. Vice President Biden, notice the slip of the tongue. I'm already calling her Vice President Harris, but wishful thinking, and I think it will come true if we all do what we need to do. But Vice President Biden gets a lot of credit for another piece of legislation called the Violence Against Women's Act, or VAWA. And that part of the act that helps immigrants goes unnoticed. Many times, spouses of American citizens are abused, and the abuse comes in the form of, can be mental, psychological, physical, verbal, all different types of abuse. And part of it is that spouse not petitioning for their immigrant spouse to be legal in the country. Because if they remain undocumented, then they have more control over them.
Yes.
And the Violence Against Women's Act gives us as immigration practitioners an avenue and an opportunity to have the abused spouse self-petition in order to become lawful permanent residents of the United States. So Vice President Biden has had vision in how he's approached immigration. And, while I celebrate Senator Harris and Vice President Biden, and I'm all in. It's not with blinders on. It's not without acknowledgement that they have both evolved in their thinking in many different areas. I would like to think I've evolved as well, that I'm not the same person I was 10 or 20 years ago, and that not only personally, but my opinion on different issues have evolved, and so have they both. But what I want to say to your viewers is that in 2020, at this moment in time, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are the answer to what we need in America. They are the team that we need.
I was going to ask, and I'm still going to ask you, what is your message to members of the Caribbean diaspora here in the United States? What do we need to do to make it a reality that on January 20, 2021, both President Biden and Vice President Harris take the oath of office? What should the Caribbean community be doing right now?
Well, three things right off the top. If you're an American citizen, register to vote. Secondly, even if you are a green card holder, you can donate. So everybody needs to donate to the campaign. $10, $25, whatever it is, donate, participate. And three, vote. And the voting, as you're well aware, has become a tricky issue. Who knew that in 2020 in America, we would be talking about voter suppression? So we are in the middle of a pandemic. People are fearful. We are still required to maintain social distancing. So people are fearful of going out and voting in the ways that we've normally voted, by going to a polling station, either to early vote or to vote on the day of election. So the Democrats have been pushing that we need to vote by mail. Suddenly, voting by mail is now under attack by the current occupant of the White House. His appointed Postmaster General has made numerous changes this week that is going to affect voting by mail. They have reduced staff, they've cut overtime, they have removed several sorting machines that allow thousands of pieces of mail to be sorted using 2 human beings. But removing those machines now require 30 people instead of 2 to sort the mail. It's going to reduce the speed at which we get our mail. They have also gone as far as to physically remove mailboxes in several states. It was all over. Thank God for social media and photographs. It was all over yesterday. The trucks actually physically removing the mailboxes. So what do we need to do in order to ensure that our vote is counted? My piece of advice is request a mail-in ballot. But if you are able, if you're able-bodied, take your mailing ballot to the polling station and give it in, submit it at that time. Some places you can submit it at the supervisor of elections office. Allow only the people who are elderly or infirmed or who cannot physically get to a polling station to use the mail, because the mail system is going to be overrun if millions of people put their ballots in the mail. And this is the intention and the intentional suppression of our votes by using the post office and the Postmaster General to, in effect, reduce the effectiveness of the post office. So only mail the ballots back if you are unable, you're elderly, you're sick, you don't have a way of getting to the polling station. But if you can get in any kind of transportation and get to the polling station, then please go there and drop your ballots off.
That is excellent advice. And I just want to repeat the 3 things that you said we should do.
Register to vote.
If you're a citizen, register.
Yes.
Contribute to campaigns, not just citizens, but permanent residents. Contribute to the campaign, because money runs political campaigns.
It does, anywhere in the world.
3, make sure you vote.
Vote.
And
Vote.
in doing so, ensure that your vote is counted. So these are very, very important things for us to do. And we hope that we will be able to continue to emphasize these issues as we go forward towards November 3rd. Daria, I want to thank you very much for being my guest today on CaribNation. Thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure.
And I look forward to bringing you back at some point in the future as we assess closer to the election what we are doing, how we are doing it, and how we might be able to do it better.
Yes.
Thank you again for being my guest. And that's it for today for CaribNation Television. I'm Curtis Ward. Thank you.